and welcome to another episode, actually, episode 3 of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Adults. I'm your host, Sidon Long, and today's really special. This is our third episode. I want to celebrate that by saying, man, I was consistent enough to do 3. Hopefully, at some point, we'll get to the point where we say, hey, our milestone was 10, our milestone was 20. But with that out of the way, Christmas is coming up. So if you're listening to this now or you're listening to it in the next few days, we are in October. And today, as every other day, we talk about how we can help small business owners and entrepreneurs who wake up every morning knowing that they really want and really need more sales. And today, we're talking about how to make social media, free social media, your number one salesperson. Now, this kind of comes from a lead generator I did a few years ago for a client, and it literally netted her like 1,000 people in a couple days. And what we found out is that they were all willing to pay her somewhere between $1,000 and $10,000 to learn how to do what I'm about to teach you guys, I guess, technically for free. So here we go. So again, let's talk about online sales. According to Digital Commerce 360, online sales in 2022 were over $1 trillion. $1 trillion was spent online. And the cool thing about that for people at home is, man, that's money that's being spent all over the world. So you could have a customer in Russia, you can have a customer in Dubai, no matter where you're listening to it, the internet, if the internet goes there, you can have a customer there. The first time I was really exposed to it was when I wrote God Wants You to Dominate, and I realized that I went number one in other countries, um, which was kind of crazy to me. It's like, wow, people are buying my book that I do not know in other countries. So the first thing off the top is that it's $1 trillion industry, according to Digital Commerce 360. And the second thing is that it's global. And, probably a lot of people who are listening right now, people who will listen, you have brick and mortar. So I know your question is like, you know, can brick and mortar businesses use social media or is it just for digital products? Absolutely not. If you are a standalone, freestanding kiosk, you know, you can use social media. And I recommend that you use it, because again, people will still buy from you all over the state, all over your city. People will travel to you. And what people are looking for, we call it solution searching. So if you listen to a couple of the podcasts, you know that it is solution searching. So it doesn't matter where you are, the solution is what people are looking for. Even when you shop on Amazon, how often do you really look to see where the book that you bought is coming from, to see where the jersey or whatever, you don't really know where it's coming from. And depending on what shipping costs, you may never know what it's coming from, especially if you're a Prime user. Um, you're just clicking buttons. So to answer the question, can brick and mortar businesses use social media or is it just for digital products? No. If you are brick and mortar, you absolutely should be going live. You should be posting and you should be doing it consistently. So to answer that question, because I know a lot of times there's confusion when I talk to clients and they're like, well, why would I do it? I mean, I'm not selling anything online, but you can use it to, number one, drive traffic to your actual store. And one of the ways that you become profitable is by doing more with less. So again, if you are using free social media, that means that you don't have to hire a person to stand out there with a sign. You don't have to put ads in the newspaper. You don't have to try to get ads on the back of receipts and things like that in the supermarket. That you can literally go directly to your customer base and talk to them and tell them what you got going on. You could tell them about your sales. You know, you could tell them about your business. You could show them about new inventory. And if you do that, guess what? People will then want to know, how do they get it? And if you don't have a shipping system set up, You can then set up a shipping system. I'll give you an example. I have a client, who's in Virginia, and we started out doing online products. And he decided, hey, man, I want to really go face to face, nose to nose, and start touching people. So what he was able to do, he was able to take that same audience and that same energy and that same algorithm that he was fitting into and start running the ads. Instead of saying click here to buy the product online, he was saying click here to register and reserve your seat. So now, instead of you clicking to go to a website, now you're clicking to reserve a seat. Now you're clicking to pay and buy a ticket. The same thing you do when you buy a concert ticket. It's the same thing you do when you're buying a ticket to a webinar. But you can use that same thing to buy a product. You know, reserve the product now, pick it up in the store later. A lot of times when you see it at Walmart, you don't think it applies to you. You see it, online, you don't think that you can use it too. But the reality is you can use these same um tactics, for lack of a better word, for your own business. Ask yourself right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I really want more sales without adding more salespeople? Because again, you can have a much um desired product, but if nobody knows about it, you're gonna go out of business. You're gonna have to get a regular 9 to 5. You're gonna have to do something that you don't want to do if you can't get sales. A lot of times people are like, well, you talk about sales so much. Sales, sales, sales. And the reality is if you don't have any, how you gonna go to a bank and say, hey, give me more money? You know, if you don't have any sales, you don't have any profits. And if you don't have any profits, what are you gonna spend on vacations? What are you gonna spend to pay your bills? So I know that a lot of times people don't like the word sales. But if you're going to be in business, man, you just got to get over it, and learn how to do it ethically, you know, learn how to do it easily, you know. And the easiest way to do it is by attracting customers. The reality is if you're online and you're teaching, educating people who really want and really need what you offer, they'll come to you. I remember, again, I talk about, different times during my career where sales weren't coming as fast as they needed to be. And the one thing I always knew was like, man, if I had a phone and some internet, I could get some leads. If I had a phone and some internet, I could just set it up, sit down in front of it, and start talking. Start telling people about how to use free social media to turn, to be your number one salesperson. I could start talking about content. I could start talking about marketing. I could start talking about how I've helped clients make millions of dollars. I could start talking about how I've lost weight. Because all of those things are something that somebody wants to know and has tried and failed at. So if there's any success that you've had at anything, you can use free social media because again, it's just a phone book. The internet is a phone book. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. The internet's just a phone book. And that's why search engine optimization, this fancy word, is just for people. It's just people looking up stuff in the phone book. That's all it is. So, with that being said, if people know about you and you're failing business, it can save your business because it absolutely saved mine. You I often tell the story about all I had was a phone and some good information and some internet. I started going Facebook Live. I started doing it every day. I would teach and talk and answer questions about areas that I was strong in. And guess what happened? I got a client. Guess what happened? People who were looking for what I was offering started finding me, which is why you have to, as a business owner, give yourself the opportunity to be successful by doing the same thing. So the question is like, well, where do I start? How do I start? Where do I start? How do I use it to save my business? um, the first thing is write down all the problems in your industry. Whatever you sell, what are the problems? You know, so if you write down all of the problems, all of the things that people are struggling with that buy products like yours, that's the first step. Okay. And then you start to figure out what the solutions are to those problems. Because again, we talk about solution searching. If I am trying to grow my hair and I can't grow it, okay, people in my industry, people who shop with me, they struggle with, broken ends, or they struggle with dry scalp, or they struggle with whatever. Now you just get on and you're like, hey, 3 ways to heal your split ends. And you can show your products, you can show some tips, you can show some strategies, and guess what? Somebody who is interested in that is going to watch. And here's the cool thing: people like that are going to watch as well. And if enough people watch, then Facebook, IG, YouTube, whoever they are, they're going to help you. Why? Because they know that their business depends on people watching. You know, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they're all looking for the next superstar. They're all looking for people who can hold people's attention and make them money. How do they make money? They make money by selling ads. If you continue to watch, they'll show those people ads, or they'll show you ads. So now, the longer people watch, the more ads they can show. The more ads they can show, the more ad dollars they can bring in. So now, if you're holding people's attention, you're valuable to them. And it's easier to hold the attention of somebody who's already searching for a solution. It's easier to hold the attention of somebody who's looking at something they want to see. So now it's not selling anymore. You're no longer selling. Now you're just putting content out, quote unquote content, solutions that people can then use to better their life. If you get on and you show somebody how to do push-ups the proper way, now that person knows how to do it the right way. That person has benefited from it. And that person's going to do what? That person's going to come right back to you and look for something else. So the next video can be, hey, how to do squats, how to do sit-ups, how to do chin-ups. And then you take it one step further and say, in your house, without going to a gym, how to get the results of doing these things in faster, quicker, easier steps. So now, not only are you teaching people something, you're giving them value. In other words, it's overused, it's value. um, but value is simply, how can you help me reach my goal faster, easier, with less stress? And how can you help me maintain it over a longer period of time? I add value by teaching people how to turn free social media into cold hard cash. I add value by teaching people how to attract customers, keep customers, get customers to buy again, and then turn those same customers into salespeople, so that you can then grow your business into the 7 figures without having to do a whole lot of work yourself, other than basically shooting videos, running classes, and living your life being you. So again, when we talk about this stuff, it can literally save your business. I've had clients who are going out of business. We made 1 or 2 adjustments, and then we put it out. And guess what? In seconds, they were getting customers. And you're like, well, in seconds? Like, yes, in seconds. If you have a good product and people want what you're offering, it doesn't take very long. Most people are failing at selling online because they're not doing it right. So what does it look like when you do it right? It looks like this. Number one, you know what the problems are. Number two, You take the people who really want and really need solutions to those problems, and now you go live and you say, "Hey, who's interested in losing weight today? Who'd like to lose 30 pounds in the next 6 weeks?" And guess what? All the people who'd like to lose 30 pounds in the next 6 weeks raise their hand. So now there's your leads. So now you just gotta close them. And how do you close them? Okay. Well, this is what you're interested in. Here's what you need to do. And then you teach them something. Number one, you need to start by lowering your carbs. You could literally walk through your own house, open up your own fridge and say, "Hey, there's no potatoes in here. There's no bread in here." You know, that's number one. Throw all that stuff out. You could even be dramatic and throw a loaf of bread out on your video live for free commercial, free ad. And that person who wants it, really needs it, they're going to watch. Like, man, I'm watching him and he threw away the bread. I'm going to throw away my bread. And then you say, "Hey, for more tips, click the link below. For more tips, come here. My website. For more tips, you know, call." And that's called a call to action. You know, and people hear call to action all the time. Call to action is just simply, what do I need to do next? We're having classes every Tuesday. And if you struggle with your transitions, um, oh, by the way, is the perfect way to do it. You know, you teach them the lesson, and then you say, "Oh, by the way, if you'd like to get a one-on-one training, call me at." You can give me a real phone number if you want to. I have clients who have phones literally set up for people who see them online to call, with people on the other end that are answering. And sometimes it's actually them on the phone, which is kind of a caveat that for a couple of my clients really takes their business through the roof. You know, so now you're making it work. Now, here's the psychology behind that. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna go a little bit deeper and give you some real psychological stuff. Okay, so here's how it works. Person contemplates about a problem, because until you have a problem, it's really hard to find a solution. So a person starts thinking about it. "Man, I'd really like to lose some weight this year." Okay, so now it's top of mind. What's the next step? Okay, how do I do it? So that's where you come in. They talk about it. They're thinking about, how do I do it? So now they start researching it. And they don't even know they're researching it. They know that, hey, I thought about it. And now my brain is starting to look for every possible solution, or what could be a possible solution. So now all of a sudden, the algorithm kicks in, because you've been searching for it on your phone. You've been looking at pieces of videos about it. Now the algorithm kicks in. Almost feel like sometimes your phone's reading your brain. But again, the algorithm kicks in, and all of a sudden, here comes tummy teas. Here comes all different kinds of training programs and weight loss apps, and everything just starts to flood. Okay. So now, where you have to then take advantage of that is, number one, by creating content, quote unquote, um, that gets in that algorithm. But number two, this is where you start to differentiate yourself, and when you start to niche. A lot of people want to make stuff for everybody, but again, it's people who really want it, really need it. And then, sorry, and then you want to just break it down to a specific group of people. Um, like for a while, I was doing digital marketing for women, just women. Didn't want to talk to any guys. And guess what? Because I was doing it for women, I kept getting guys saying, "Hey, man, you think you could help us too?" But when you niche, that person is now able to clearly see you as their solution. You know, it's digital marketing for who? Oh, for women. I'm a woman. And then they know it's specifically for them. Again, what I do right now is for adult business owners. So if you're a person that identifies as adult, a person that identifies as grown, A person who has children, a person who has a mortgage, a person who has car notes, a person who has aging parents. I'm the guy for you, because I take my time and I explain it. So now when they're in their research stage, that's where you get in. That's where you jump in. They're thinking about it. They're wondering about it. They don't know much about it. That's where your content starts to get into the algorithm and get into their mind and get into um, their head. So now they're researching it. You're talking directly to them, just like I'm talking directly to you, adult business owner at home who needs sales. You know that that point, this is for me. Okay. The other one sounded cool, but this one's for me. These people get me. These people understand me. I feel safe with these people. That's why you niche. You niche because now you're able to speak directly to a group of people. And if you speak directly to that group of people, all it does is knock away all the people who weren't going to spend any money with you in the first place. All it does is knock away the people who are going to take up your time asking a bunch of questions that were then going to then go somewhere else and ask a bunch of questions and then not do anything. Um, if you ever hear me talk, I'll tell people straight up, like I don't really have time for starters and dreamers, because starters and dreamers don't have any skin in the game. Starters and dreamers don't know who not to listen to. They listen to everybody. Starters and dreamers are just running around gathering information, but they're never actually putting it into practice. They're never actually booking an appointment. They're never actually getting over the hump. So we want people who are actually in business, because those people have something to lose. Those people are self-motivated. Those people are going to actually take these tips and strategies and do something with it because they need to. So that's what you want to do. Now, there's plenty of money in starters, and you could create a separate program for people who are starting. Give them a bunch of free stuff, lower the risk level. So now they can read the ebook. Now they can watch videos. Now they can tune in the podcast. But your money's going to come from people who are in the game, people who are in the arena, because those people have to make it work. You know, People who have diabetes make much better weight loss um, candidates than people who don't, because what's the truth of the matter? If they don't lose the weight, if they don't, get off the carbs, they're probably going to lose a leg. And if they're in a family where they've seen people lose legs and limbs, that's going to give them that extra motivation. At least it did for me. And, the people I was in groups with, it did for them as well. The fear of, dialysis, the fear of, losing toes, the fear of dying made those people much more um, aggressively and proactively, you know, do what they needed to do, which was give somebody some money so that they could get it done. Even if it's just going out and buying running shoes and running clothes, they did something. So now those are the people that you want to focus on. Those are the people who can help save your business. People who really want, really need, you know, even if it's a nightlife spot. You're like, well, how do I use this for nightlife? Well, people who really want and need, and then you go back to those problems, a safe space. People who really want and need to go somewhere, where the prices aren't out of control. People who really want and need to go someplace where there's not a lot of creepy dudes. I have a friend who does catering, and they were having this event, and I, took one of her posts and shared it, and I was like, "Hey, this is a creep-free zone." And we all got a good laugh about it, but we all knew that it was true. You know, if you're a woman and you're out in a sundress, you're exposed. The last thing you want is a bunch of gawkers. So hey, this is a creep-free zone. We don't condone, encourage anyone to be disrespectful to the people who patronize us. If you and your friends come here, you can have a good time, you can drink, you can smoke, you can dance, and nobody's gonna harass you. There's no slut shaming here. And I'm not calling them sluts. I'm just simply saying that's what the ad said. Okay. So again, we went back to that problem. You know, same thing when you look at Wendy's, for example. I love Wendy's. Wendy's is a great place. And they would tell you, hey man, this meat's never been frozen. Meaning that it can't be 8 months old. It literally is fresh. So now, if you're in that, "Oh, I'm not really sure about fast food," that becomes a tipping point. Yeah. Same thing if you're at Burger King, it's never been fried. We frame broil, so there's no grease. So if you're worried about your cholesterol, even though you're eating the French fries, but that's another story, you are then able to say, hey, man, this one's a little bit better for me because I don't like fried food. So again, your problems, your problems are going to be where you start to build your case as you being the person that should be patronized, that you being the person that they should spend their money with, you being the person they should trust. That's where you want to go. Okay. So here we go. People thought about it. People start researching it. Algorithm kicks in. All the stuff floods your timeline. Now you want to niche it down to pick the ones who really want and really need you and you can help the most. And then you want to talk about the problems those people have. And then once you teach them something, you want to keep teaching them something because now the cat and milk theory kicks in. What's the cat and milk theory? That if I keep putting out milk, the cat will keep coming. We're calling it content, but really it's just feeding the cat. So if you feed the cat will be back tomorrow. So if I helped you today, you'll watch another video. If I helped you tomorrow, then you'll watch another video. And eventually you'll start getting results, and I'll be your go to person for everything that you need in that particular area. Yeah. And it'll be for free. You won't have to pay any health insurance. It won't get sick. And if you're listening to me right now, you know about the 7 gets. If you've been following me, 7 gets and 7 gets, number 2 in the 7 gets is get them to opt in. Okay. Now, opting in means that you get their information. So when you get their information, now you don't even need social media anymore. Platform could go down, internet could go out, but now you got phone. I guess technically your internet couldn't go out, but your internet could go out, but you can still use a phone. So anyway, so now if you have their information, now you can go direct to consumer. You can go directly to the people who have bought from you, trust you, and you fed before, and build your list. And now you can sell them additional products, additional services. So instead of getting one sale, now you got two, maybe three. Okay. Again, I helped the client do $600,000 in 5 months. How do we do it? We took the people that they had and we got them to buy something else. You look at Warren Buffett. How did Warren Buffett, turn things around at Coca-Cola? One of the first things he did in this story, it's probably been told 1,000 times, but I'm gonna tell it one more time. Okay, so he goes to Coca-Cola. Let's just say they're doing $10 million a day. He says, okay, well, we're gonna raise the price by a penny. Nobody notices a penny. Nobody cares about a penny. We'll give it a penny. So instead of it being 99 cents, now it's gonna be $1. But real Coke drinkers don't care about paying a penny more because they want their Coke. So if I sold 10 million of them and I just added a penny to the price, it didn't change production. It didn't change anything. But what it did do is it netted me a profit just like that. So imagine how profitable you could be if you used free social media the right way, because there is a wrong way and a right way. If you used it the right way, how much more could you do this holiday season? Scale to 1 to 10. How much more successful could you be if you learn how to do it the right way? How much more successful could you be? I mean, you have a choice right now. You can keep passing out flyers. You can keep hiring marketing people to quote unquote get you out there, or you can learn how to do this yourself. Save the money you would have paid the flyer people, save the money you would have paid the quote unquote marketing person, and do it yourself with a cell phone. I rebooted my business literally with a cell phone, internet, and information. That got me a client, which gave me another client. It got me an opportunity to do a book. And I was just basically sitting in a chair, just like I'm sitting right now, sharing all the things that I've learned. And for adults, there are things that you know that somebody wants to know. Yeah. If you're in HR and you've been in HR for 25 years, you have 25 years worth of experience you could sell. The game is to be sold, not told, is a phrase that we hear all the time. And that's literally what it means. That I can take my experience and whatever it is and sell it. If you bake cakes and you've been baking cakes and they come out great, there's somebody right now who'll give you $50 to teach them how to bake a cake. Hell, there's probably 100 people that'll give you $50 to teach them how to bake a cake before Christmas, before Thanksgiving. Why? Because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to have to go buy another store-bought cake. They want to impress their family. I mean, just imagine if you were in an interracial relationship and you were married to an African American. Wouldn't you like to be able to make soul food? Wouldn't you really need and really want to keep that as a part of your family's heritage and lineage? If you're an adult with aging parents, wouldn't you really want to learn how to make some of the things that they grew up eating so that they could have some sense of home and comfort in their latter years? Again, now what's the problem? Don't have time. Okay. Don't know where to start. Don't know what ingredients to buy. Okay. So there's your videos. How to make it faster, how to make it easier, where to start, what ingredients to buy. Okay. You could have a grocery store and literally just walk the aisles and say, here's where you start. This is the flour you get. Get that good swan flour. Walk around, get that real Land O'Lakes butter. And now none of these people are paying me. It's just, if you old school, you know that those are some of the things you probably saw on people's tables. You walk around to the aisle where it has the McCormick vanilla. You know. Oh, and right now, we have a sale on walnuts. So whether you're a big chain store or you're a small little bodega, same principle works. And you just do it consistently. And if you do it consistently, people will tune in. Right now we're running an experiment. I'm going to do this for as many freaking days in a row as I can, and we're just going to see what happens. You know, so we're going to do it every day. We're going to post something that we know people have a problem with, and we're going to post the problem and the solution. Then we're going to offer our help, just like I'm about to right now, or just like you see at the bottom of the ticker. Go to growingrich.com and sign up for our next group training. What's a group training? Hey, a group training is where I take 5 or 6 people who have a business, and instead of me speaking in general or telling stories about clients that I've worked with, I actually sit down and I work with you. If you wanted to be your sales team, I'll sit down with your whole sales team. If you wanted to be you and 5 other people you don't know, they're business owners, no problem. We could do that too. Oh, and if you click the link, I'll do an actual assessment of your business. It's called the Make Money Fast call. And we can sit down, we can talk one-on-one. And if there's something that I identify that you can do yourself, I'll tell you what to do. If I need more time and you want to hire me and my team, that's possible too. If you just need me to consult with you from week to week, we can do that too. But the reality is that you want to offer people help after they watch the video. You want to offer people an opportunity to get more solutions from you. Because again, it's cat and milk. Keep feeding the cat will keep coming back. And That'll give you a list of people that you don't have to fight with other people to keep. Because once you're feeding them and once they're coming directly to you, they no longer see your competition. Same thing with niching. Niching allows you to cut through your competition. You know, Solving problems that your competition can't solve allows you to cut through your competition. you know and if you cut through your competition, now all of a sudden, in seconds, in days, in weeks, your list grows, your sales grow. And if you then sell them something else, now you gotten two sales from the same person. And now what happens if they give you a referral? Now that's another customer that you didn't spend a dime to get, and you use social media to do it. And social media didn't charge you. Matter of fact, they helped you, because people were watching. And if people are watching because they're learning and they're being helped, guess what? They'll show you to more people. And that's how you turn free social media into your number one salesperson. As always, man, thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you. Share this with somebody. Um, Take notes, apply this stuff, leave in the comments how well it worked. If you have questions, put them in the comments and I will answer them. Go to grownandrich.com, click the Make Money Fast button. We'll talk. You know, Also sign up for other things that I got coming down the line. Because again, one of the things we do have coming down the line very soon is the Make Big Bucks Without Boosting Ad Playbook. How to turn free social media into cold hard cash. That's right around the corner. I mean, and that's literally everything I've done and how I've helped clients make millions of dollars on and offline. So, as always, this is your host, the business big bro, Sadon Long. Have a great day, and we're out.